First time using this new webcam. It's cold in here. Episode 7 trailer premieres today. A lot of questions on who's who and what's what. But here's what I have to say. I mean, it takes you back to the nitty grittiness of the original trilogy where everything is pretty much worn down and everything's not all shiny and new as opposed to the prequels. And there's a lot of questions on who's who and what's what. But it's not just things like the X-Wing and the look of Tatooine that take it back to look at the original trilogy. That unknown British actor who makes a shocking appearance in the trailer because he looks really shocked and scared. I mean, he looks like an actor that could have been in the original trilogy. He looks like a relative of Billy D. Williams. I keep forgetting his name, but it looks like JJ is really sticking to the original look and feel of the original trilogy, which George Lucas failed to do in the prequels. And again, there's a lot of questions, and why isn't the original cast in this trailer? Because they're in the movie, but from what I hear, they're not taking that big of a part in the movie. Like, it's going to focus on these newer, fresher faces, and I don't know if I'm ready for that necessarily. Like, could I just start looking at these new characters the same way I'd look at the original cast? And here's the thing. This vlog is mainly about the trailer for Star Wars Episode 7, which has been named The Force Awakens. So, jump back to 1999. People were actually paying good money just to see the trailer in theaters. And it was showing Episode 7 was playing with Big Hero 6. But what Episode 1, jumping back again, sorry to be very jarring, The Phantom Menace said, what that trailer said about the movie was very little. I mean, here you had all these awesome special effects. And we had the original Star Wars, which was all handmade. And then people went into the movie, and initially, it wasn't that great. I mean, I don't remember getting much of an impression from Phantom Menace. I mean, here was all this hype and build-up, and then the movie itself, despite all its special effects, wasn't that thrilling. And I quickly forgot about it. And I didn't even bother to see Attack of the Clones in theaters. Revenge of the Sith, that's what did the prequels the most justice, I think, despite it too has a lot of problems. But will this movie be what we hope it to be, given the fact, if this is a good or a bad thing, that George Lucas has nothing to do with it? Now, this is only from what I know. I think I read, I don't remember if it was Vanity Fair, it was some magazine or newspaper back in 2005, which stated there was no Episode 7. There is a book called the Truce at Bakura, which takes place after Return of the Jedi, but that's about it. I clearly read there was no Episode 7, but I've also read that there were plans to do an Episode 7 talks to do an episode 7 back in 1983. And they were going to start in 2011. And I read this back in 2011. And I'm like, holy crap. It's 2011 right now. And they haven't really made this yet, but now it's 2014. And it's happening slightly later than they expected. But how much of that trailer feels like a Star Wars movie? Is what I'm trying to figure out. What the hell is that rolling R2-D2? And how are the original characters, given how Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher have aged over the years, how are they going to look on the screen now? I mean, given the beard, Mark Hamill his Luke Skywalker is going to be, he's going to kind of take over the more Obi-Wan kind of role. At least from what I can see. But I also got a bizarre feeling that this might curse me for saying this. But I hope this is not like Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of Crystal Skull. Not comparing it to how that movie turned out, but initially, will it feel like a Star Wars movie? But my best assumption is yes. It's very difficult for me to put the prequels and the original trilogy together because they were made at separate times. And here you've got Natalie Portman, which looks nothing like Carrie Fisher. And they somehow have kids that look like they're from the 1970s. It's really hard to put those together. But from what I've seen from this trailer, that you could put this movie, the sequel, with the original trilogy. And all these numbers they're kind of jarring because it's like we had 4 and 5 and 6 made in the 70s and 80s, and then you go back to 1999 and the 2000s, and you've got 1, 2, and 3. And it's kind of like, and now we've gone from episode 3 to episode 7. And it's I guess I'm worried for some newer generations who know nothing, by the way. It might be very jarring and confusing. But the prequels had a lot of problems, and that is why Lucas is no longer involved in these movies. I clearly don't see what the point is if Lucas isn't involved, because this is his work. And in a way, is that like, I don't know, painting a replica of the Mona Lisa and then saying it's yours and slapping a corporate logo on it. And I'm glad that just reminded me. I'm glad that the Disney logo didn't pop up in the trailer. I mean, they poured a lot of money into this franchise. and their logo is nowhere on the trailer. Do they want it that way? Surely the fans do, but I'm not sure. And I mean, George Lucas just couldn't really get the prequels right and give us what we wanted. I don't know if it's because when he was making the original trilogy, he hated working with actors. And that might have led to the casting of Hayden Christensen, who is notoriously horrible as Anakin. But The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones were almost a big F you to fans. And it was like he just didn't care anymore. But here was this valuable property, and Disney just came in and just handed like trucks full of money and said, and George Lucas said, "Here's my franchise." And again, there's just so little I know about this movie. I've read that, this is a spoiler, that Luke Skywalker, he taps like really deep into the Force, and he becomes like really powerful. But story-wise, I can't really tell what's going on in the trailer. And you see that new that triple lightsaber that looks like a medieval sword. That's causing a lot of controversy. We don't know We don't know who that person narrating is in the trailer. I think I heard someone say that was Luke Skywalker flying the X-Wing, but we don't know. And who that British actor is, because he was in a movie called The Block. I've never seen it, but I've heard of it. What's going on that's really causing this panic in him, I don't know. But when I saw the Millennium Falcon and I saw the X-Wings, I pretty much knew this was a Star Wars movie. I mean, those stormtroopers that were coming down in that ship, that looked like a scene from like Godzilla or something. But yeah, what's going on, nobody knows. But come next Christmas, we'll find out. Thank you.